Hi, this is Larry Miller at the Retail Control Group. Each month we publish a feature article, a hot topic if you will, tips and best practices, and we're going to feature a training workshop as well as a training white paper for you to learn from in order to improve the store operations control and loss prevention efforts in your stores. So this month, let's talk about backdoor receiving. As many of you know, in our backdoor receiving guide, which is available on the retailcontrol.com website, we provide a backdoor receiver's manual that has within it 15 steps or best practices associated with your backdoor receiving controls so that you can make sure that you get what you pay for and avoid vendor fraud and/or backdoor receiver collusion. This month, of the 15, we're going to focus on 4 or 5 to make sure that they are central, top of mind for your backdoor receivers and for you when you visit your stores and have to walk through the back door and back room areas so that you can make sure that they're following the best practices. Number one among them has to be, always will be, neatness counts. What your vendors see in the back room and what your employees see in the back room tells a big story about you, your operations disciplines, and your operations controls. So in many ways, the first thing I look for when I walk into a store is neatness, organization, structure, discipline. It tells me whether or not, as a dishonest vendor, I can get away with theft at your back door or whether you're under control. So we like to have a 15-foot product-free zone in all areas surrounding the back door. So when the back door is open or closed, 15 feet in all directions, side to side, and straight out is product-free zone. That also establishes your staging area for vendors bringing product into the store. Everybody coming into the store has to go to that staging area. Many of my customers even line it out with paint on the floor to say, this is our staging area. This is where you can be when we're receiving your product or when you're taking out a credit. Come right to this spot, nowhere else. So long as we can confine the vendor efforts to that staging area, the receiver then has a complete control over that environment. So, message number one, best practice number one is neatness and organization count. Number two, basic security. And this is a big one, although very, very basic. The back door can never be open and unattended, period. It's a steadfast discipline that if you violate, you're opening up not only the back door, but your shrink loss door to untold losses and untold theft and fraud by vendors. So the back door can never be open and unattended. I don't care if the vendor's on the sales floor and the receiver has to go out to the sales floor to talk to the vendor, that back door has to be closed and locked. That does not mean the padlock through the bolt, but not locked. It means literally locked. And I have a simple message. Once you communicate this to your receivers and they really understand it, and you've really sincerely taught them not only that it's unacceptable to have a back door open and unattended, but exactly why, I have a very simple message. If they violate that rule, fire them. Their effort, their body, their breath isn't worth it in your store as an employee if they're going to open the door to fraud and theft in your stores. Now I know that sounds harsh, and I know there's not a lot of A players out in the marketplace for you to choose from, but you must choose the right person for your backdoor control, and it has to be a person who understands the disciplines and understands the need for absolute security and control at the back door. Number 3 is your known loss area. Everyone has damaged goods, distressed goods that the vendors pick up, take out for credit, even if they're damaged and distressed because they went out of code. It doesn't matter why. These are items that you're going to try to get credit from your vendor. How those areas are organized and prepared refers again back to number 1, neatness counts. The staging area has to include a disciplined best practice for controlling and handling and managing known loss products. But remember, the known loss product area cannot be within the 15-foot product-free zone. It has to be outside of the product-free zone. Don't put it inside, because the moment your vendor sees that your receiver has their back turned, he'll be taking his credits out. You just won't be getting credit for it. I suggest shelves. set up with egg crates on their side, each one tagged with a vendor's name, so that we know that Keebler cookies go in this egg crate and have to be taken out for credit. Or this product vendor, Nabisco, has to put the products in there for credit, and then they empty them out once a week. The way that your known loss area is organized, disciplined, and managed, again, communicates in a very real way to not only your employees, but to the possible dishonest vendor that you are organized, disciplined, and structured for control. As soon as you allow your known loss area to be disheveled, out of order, have to be sorted through, dirty, broken bags, product falling on the floor, or just not organized, what you're really communicating to your vendor is that you're not in control, and they can get the product out of the store without giving you credit. Now, I'm not suggesting for a minute that every one of your vendors is dishonest and will take advantage of you, but some will. You know it, and I know it. So let's make sure we're communicating an atmosphere of control, a culture of control, not only in the habits of our people, but in what the vendor sees when they're in the back room. The work that they have to do has to be at least as organized, at least as efficient as your people are and your backroom staging areas are. Number 4 on the list is receiver audits. No receiver is good enough that they have the perfect habits every single day, ongoing, forever. We urge that vendors and receivers be audited at least monthly. That means your manager, your district manager, a loss prevention professional, or one of your internal audit people actually stand and watch the vendor, watch the receiver receive, and make sure that they're following the fundamentals of good receiving practices. Again, if you don't have them in place, we have a manual for you. We have consultants that can work with you to help you train your receivers. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute. But auditing is really important. If you can't get to it monthly, you have to at least get to a more in-depth audit every quarter. As a formal audit every quarter, check out how the invoices are being handled. Are they secured? Are they being totaled correctly? Is the gross margin reports each week being totaled and accurately calculated so that your managers and the people in your stores know what their gross margins are coming in and going out? Even if you're on automated DSD, as 92% of all retailers are today, doesn't matter. The practices of the audit are vital to establishing the culture of control that we have to have at the back door. Unfortunately, people don't always do what is expected, they do what is inspected. And the monthly or quarterly audit is a way that you tell the receiver and everybody else in the store that you're looking, you have disciplines, and you definitely demand that the proper practices are being followed every single day with every single vendor. Number 5 is actually easy and logical, but difficult to implement. We urge, we stress, we almost demand that our customers have regular receiver and store manager training every 6 months. I don't care how good the receiver is, we all get into bad habits over the course of time. By having just a 2-hour receiver training, refresh training every single quarter or every single 6 months is actually adequate, we can make sure that the proper practices are in the receiver's mind all the time. Now, this is really important because it sets up everything we've talked about already, whether it's neatness counts, backdoor receiving control area, the staging area, training, known loss control, keeping the vendors under control, handling of invoices. It doesn't matter. If we're not reinforcing that every single 6 months with the store managers and the receivers, the assistant managers if necessary, also depending on your organizational structure, those practices will not stay in place. And your people in the stores won't think that you're serious about it. Backdoor receiving, like front-end cashier theft prevention and theft control, these things cannot be the program of the month. They have to be an ongoing, regular discipline where you demand proper execution and hold people accountable. Backdoor receiving is the linchpin, it's the foundation of excellent store operations control and loss prevention. If you need help in this area, make sure you give me a call. You can always reach me at 602-448-8500, or you can email me, as always, at larry@retailcontrol.com. Meantime, have a great day, have good loss prevention and shrink control, and I'll see you real shortly with our next topic. In fact, I'm going to give you a secret. I'm going to give you a hint. Next month, we're going to be talking about the 3 vital P's to excellent loss prevention and store operations control. It's people, practices, and policies. We'll talk about every one of them in detail in our next podcast. Have a great day. Happy shrink prevention.